This program contains coarse language and discusses mature themes. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
It's so dumb every time I hit the record button. I just think that my whole apartment's gonna blow up. I don't know why. I have this fear. I mean, it kind of is, because welcome back to the Ugly Couch Podcast, or welcome to whatever the heck this is. I'm your host, Darth Ginger. This is a podcast video where we talk about anything and everything kink-based. And we are blessed by a guest, which I will admit, we have recorded this before. We lost the footage. I'm sorry, but I'm super stoked that, Mac, you're back.
I'm back.
Hi, Mac. How are you?
I'm doing great. So
we met on FetLife, which, if you guys don't know by now what FetLife is, I don't know what you're doing. We keep putting the link in the description down below. That's up to you if you want to be on it. But you have been in the kink world for quite some time.
30 years plus.
What is how did you get into it?
Well, the first part of it wasn't kink related. It was more swinger style related. My first wife, one of her girlfriends would join us every once in a while. And then one of my buddies from work that she liked, he would join once in a while. So it was more of that than it was a kink based. It was the threesomes.
Is there do people different kink to just being differently sexually, because that's always a weird thing, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, is someone can say that they're kinky, but they always assume it's whips, chains, and handcuffs. But is swinging not considered a kink?
I think it is. It varies. What you might consider kinky, I might consider normal.
Right. Yeah. Because sometimes I like to pee out in public. I consider that a kink, but that's also normal.
Some people do consider that a kink. Some people think that's normal. I like to tie people up in rope. Some people think that that's a kink, and then there's even a small sect of society that thinks that's abuse.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's based on the individual's definition. What you consider normal and what I consider kinky may be extreme too far into the spectrum.
Because you've been doing rope play for a while.
4 years right now.
Yeah, that's a long time. I mean, the fact I've tried to do rope play before. I had bought a book from the Naughty Brothers at a festival once, and it was teaching me how to do rope. I don't have the patience to do it. I just want to be tied up. I can't do that.
And prior to rope, I was restraining people using leather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You could use leather straps, wrist cuffs, ankles, waist, to either a St. Andrew's cross, to a pommel horse. There's all kinds of different ways.
Have you ever attended the Wholesome Leather Festival in San Francisco?
No, I've never had the chance to get up there.
Oh, you really should. I went there once, and it was so amazing. Oh my gosh, you'd love it. I mean, besides everyone sitting on the sidewalks masturbating. So, I mean, that to each their own. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
it's great.
We used to. My second wife and I, we got more into the kink lifestyle, the spankings. She was my sub for 7 years. We would go to a club in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area called Ground Zero.
Oh.
And Ground Zero is the techno music. They would play the old World War II propaganda type movies up on a big screen. They'd be on a projector all night. They'd be running the old World War II stuff. They hired women to come in, go-go dancers in cages hanging from the ceiling or the walls.
Love that.
Yeah. They had a second floor balcony area. They would set up the St. Andrew's Cross, the spanking benches, and they would do demonstrations. And we would go to those. The Halloween parties there are amazing. I actually took about 9 looks at one gentleman one night. He looked like Johnny Depp from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He looked exactly. I mean, the costume, I'm not even sure if the guy didn't get the costume from Hollywood. I mean, it was perfect. But that's the type of where we got started with the leather, the bondage. I started training with a gentleman there. His name, he goes by Wolf. This gentleman had a 28-foot U-Haul truck that he would haul all his gear around in. He had a pop-up tent that he would set up at different venues that was originally by a large drink manufacturer owned it. It still had their name on the top.
Oh.
And this was something that you would set up over a picnic tables that you would try to feed 100 people under. It was that big.
Wow.
And he would bring his gear out. He would come out 2 days before the event and set up, and it would take him that long to set up. And it would take him a day and a half, 2 days to break down.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But I started learning from him how to use a flogger, you know, when to, where not to hit, when to hit. You know, there's all kinds of spots on the body. You can really do a lot of damage.
Yeah, we recently talked about that, our podcast. I believe it was episode 23 about with Calvin George, one of my team members, about the right and wrong places to hit, how to approach,
Right.
you know, working with those kind of tools. You know, there's so much education that people need, because someone might say that they like to be like flogged behind their knee. Please don't do that. That's just not a good idea. There's a lot of no places.
You can use a cane or a switch, but you don't hit. You don't hit that. It's more of a tap and a drag. You drag across. It's more of that, because if you do hit, you've got too many nerve endings in there. You've got major arteries in there. You can do a lot of damage real fast, real quick.
Have you ever had like an experience where like something like that happened, that, you know, it went wrong or something?
Personally, no, I haven't. I've been lucky enough with my training, and I'm very careful. I'm very cautious. The last thing I want to do is do damage or hurt anyone ever. But on the other hand, I know being brought up the way I was brought up in a farm family,
Mm-hmm.
I know the damage I can do if I let it go. You know, and I'm just careful with it. I'm extremely careful with it.
That's really good.
Yeah, the people I hear stories with that have been hurt, permanently hurt, I think 80%, probably 85%, I find out the person doing, like the flog, the caning, the whip, whatever, the paddle. They'd only been doing it 6 months. They'd only been doing it. They had you taken a class? No classes were taken. Okay, right there. That shows me right there you had no clue. You should have never been picking it up. I'm always one too that I'm the bottom before I'm the top. I was a sub 5 years before I became a dom. I was a impact play for a couple of years before I started doing impact. Rope, same thing. I was at the bottom for the first year of my rope experience before I started topping. I want to experience what I'm doing to someone else so that I know what is good and what isn't. Just currently, I'm going through training right now. In fact, I start my 4th class on Tuesday for suspension work.
Oh.
I've got the first 3 classes are done and out of the way. 4th class starts on Tuesday. And hopefully by late April, early June, I'll actually be suspending somebody for the first time. The person I'm suspending has gone through the same classes I have. So, but before I suspend that person, I've asked to be suspended by the person that's training me.
That's really awesome. So that you have this, knowledge of both sides.
Exactly.
And understand, how it all works, because someone could be, a dom, but they don't understand what it's like to be a sub. Like, being able to understand both dynamics. That doesn't mean you have to claim yourself as a sub or a dom, like whatever. That's just the most generic dynamic that anyone could ever think of. But understanding both sides and experience it, it makes it not only more fun but more safe to play with.
Exactly. And I hate to tell you this, there's a lot of people in this world that are all subs. Because you take orders from a boss, you take orders from a government, you take orders, that makes you a sub.
Yeah,
automatic.
We're all subs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I hear people all the time talk about, the prostitution. I says, we all prostitute. We all spend or give our bodies for money. Call a job.
Yep, pretty much. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's news to you.
Flipping burgers.
Yeah.
Standing in front of a courthouse, in front of a judge as a lawyer in a courthouse. As a cop, a firefighter. Myself as an electrician, carpenter, nurse, school teacher. You're all selling your body and your mind for something.
And I don't want to give like negative context like to that, because prostitution, the word itself is very strong and people will get offended by it. I don't care if you're offended, then hit the subscribe button and go home. I don't know what to tell you. It's just
don't get me wrong, I have nothing for it. If that's what these ladies or men want to do,
go for it. It's your body. Do what you want with it.
Exactly. And I think look what they've done. Okay, state of Nevada, Amsterdam. Mm-hmm. It's regulated.
Yeah.
It's some of the safest forms of it.
Once they started regulating it and making it, legal in a sense, because if you're watching this and you're against prostitution, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, because it's just it's a way of income, and as long as you're safe and legal about it, what? Because I mean, even for someone like me, I'm a former cam girl, and I still post all my nudes on the internet, and I get paid for it. And if you don't agree with that, you're probably on the wrong channel. But I hope you're getting some education out of this. But it's everyone's personal choice, and if that's what they want to do and that makes them happy, cool.
Yeah. The time that I have an issue with it is when someone's being forced by a third party.
Yeah, you pimps, you need to get out of here. Like, that's not cool. Like,
yeah, that's when it's a pimp, if you want to say that. Then that's where I start to draw a line.
Sex trafficking. Yeah.
Yeah. 16-year-old, 12-year-olds. That's so. But off that, let's go some back to half.
Does not condone to that, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So with the suspension plate, what brought you to that? Because I've been very curious about it too, but I'm such a clumsy klutz that I think that not only would I hurt myself, but I'd hurt others, because I can look at like my table right now and I know I'm going to stub my leg so hard on that in like 20 minutes. Clumsy. But like, I'd love to know like how you like what gets you so excited about suspension play.
The rope and the suspension it's an art to me. I see art when I see it. If the people watching this are on FetLife and they look at my profile, they'll see what I like. They see the artwork of it, the patterns, the colors, the contrast in the colors. I just tied one recently. It's a simple, basic chest harness. I tied the rope in black, and my model is wearing a white skin-tight top. So when I tied that rope just pops with the white top, and it's an art. There's another one I have where I did a tie in a natural jute with a red dress, and the collar of the red dress comes over. So the rope actually looks like it's part of the dress. It looks like it's actual part of the dress.
Beautiful. Oh.
And that's the type of stuff that I like. I like the artwork of it. And that's the way I look at it as an art form.
Yeah, because a lot of people, when someone says like role play, they think that like you're getting tied up like a pig. No, it's actually a beautiful art form. And the way that so many knots are done in such intricate ways is so fascinating.
Right. Now, rope can be used as a bondage form like you're talking.
It should have tied Scratchy's tongue with a taut line hitch, not a sheep bin.
Absolutely, yes.
And yes, I have two people that I tie with that's what they want, to be able not to move. They want it so that they are unable to move. And that's what I do. It's no form, no function. Well, I shouldn't say no function. The function is to restrain them.
There's some functioning fucking happening, all right?
Yeah. It's to restrain them. And I have a couple. She'll come to my house on a Friday afternoon. I will do a rope tie on her nude. She puts her top back on and leaves. They bring their own rope. Well, they're going to a swingers party or they're going to some type of kink event. So when she gets there, she takes her top off and she's got the rope on, and that's what she wears.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh.
And every time she comes to me with a different pattern. She'll actually bring me a printout of what she wants, and I copy it. So everybody has their different things that they want. I watched suspension work done last week, and it was a pure suspension work for restraining. There's a gentleman on FetLife, Jolly Riggs, amazing work. Check him out. I love to watch him work, because when you meet the man, he is a very nice guy. He's very mellow. He's just a gentleman. The second he picks that rope up, it's a different persona.
I love that.
Yeah, and he's not an asshole or anything, or mean or nasty or any of that.
But he's probably like really passionate about it.
Very much so, very much so. And I like to watch him work. And he's same thing with me. I don't care what gender you think you associate with. If you're over the age of 18 and in a sound mind, I'll tie with you. And that's what it is. As long as you're not drunk or super stoned.
You got to be somewhat here, because
you got to have a mindset.
Because there's a lot of safety hazards that can, and hopefully don't ever, but can come up with doing rope work.
It's negotiation, and negotiation.
Communication is key, my guy.
Yes. And one of the several things that I tell people when I tie with them for the very first time. If a rigger or a rope top tells you have to be naked to tie with them, walk away. If a rope rigger tells you that you have to be naked and you have to have sex with them at any point given in time, walk away.
That's so unsafe. Oh, gosh.
Right. Also, anytime you tie with anyone, me or anyone else, I don't care who, you negotiate in advance. You cannot add anything to the tie, but you can take away anything at any time. So that way everybody's comfortable, because people get into a zone. People get into that fog during bondage, during impact play, electric play, whatever you're doing. And it's the same as being drunk or high, where your reasoning sometimes goes away. Your ability to think goes away. So you can't add something. You can't be giving consent if you're somewhat mentally incapacitated because of the euphoria, the high, especially if you're on an endorphin high.
Right.
But you can take things away. You can take things out of the equation. And that's something I try to tell anyone that I tie with. Even if you never tie with me, these are some of the hard, fast safety rules that you should follow.
That's definitely something that we want to share on this channel is, but we're all having fun doing weird, kinky stuff, but safety is always going to be like the number one thing, is that making sure that, there's open communication, that what you're wanting to do in whatever scene, that everyone has a full understanding and everyone's safe and still having a good time. Because especially with rope play, I personally have had an incident where I was in that fog. It was my first time with this new rope guy, and I told him, I was a lot younger back then too. He told me that like he wanted to do all these things, and I was very open about it. And then it got to a situation where, he was on such a high, and we had a safe word, and he didn't listen to it.
Yes.
And it was so scary. And I'm very thankful that I was able to safely get myself out of the situation. But and I learned from that, and I hope no one ever goes through that experience. And if it does, right, we're here for you. Like if you ever have any problems like that, reach out to anyone, and don't ever be scared to call 911. They're not going to shame you. They just want to make sure that you're safe. But it's just making sure that you're safe, open communication, and educated. And right, that is something that we want to share with that, because rope play can be, especially because there's different types of rope that are great and not great at all to use.
Yes. You'll find that a lot of people out there that are doing rope are using a jute or a hemp, natural. Coconut is another one. Some of the very elegant rope that you see is a bamboo. Or a silk.
Okay.
The wild colors, the neon colors, the glow in the dark, nylon. Nylon is great for doing those photo shoots with the wild colors and stuff. Nylon stretches, so you lose some of your tension, so it's not a recommendation for suspension. Problem though, a lot of people use a hybrid for their uplines on suspension because jute and hemp cannot be safety tested for pounds per square inch.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a natural product. No two pieces of, because it's a grass.
Right, yeah.
No two pieces of grass have the same tension strength as a man-made product.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a lot of your uplines then are a man-made nylon or a hybrid of a couple different materials, and your actual rest of it is all a natural product.
Wow.
So anybody that ties rope should have a pair of safety scissors at all times. You need to condition your rope. Use type of, I use what's called jojoba oil. It's no smell. It's found to be 99.999% allergy free.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's it's very much recommended, and it doesn't damage the rope. It's been recommended by I don't know how many different rope people that I've met, so that's why I use it. I go by the experience of others.
And that's great. I mean, everyone wants to sometimes, not everyone, but sometimes people want to be a know-it-all. But we don't mind sharing this information. As it's okay.
Yeah.
So, if someone recommends something that's probably been doing it for a while, please listen to them. Please.
Yes. Yes.
Don't listen to me about doing podcasts, though. Please, everyone, stop asking me for advice. This is fucking weird. I don't know why.
I think you do a great job. So
thanks. I try. Everyone's like, "How'd you get started?" I'm like, "Well, I have a laptop, a broken ring light, and a webcam. That's about it. I'm not the star. The ugly couch is the star." Which, if you haven't seen it, the origin story is now on YouTube. So go ahead and watch and listen. It's fucking weird. Yeah. But no, like that's like, are there any like no-go like material ropes that you would suggest?
You steer away from
pretty much anything bought off Amazon.
I don't say that. No, I'm not going to go there with that, considering I don't have an Amazon account and I've never bought anything off of Amazon. So
really,
seriously.
My God, good for you.
Yeah. Well, that's a different story, but it's hilarious. I've been getting emails and text messages saying your Amazon account's locked. I don't have an Amazon account. I think it's funny.
Lock it. I don't care.
Yeah,
throw the key away.
Yeah. I won't say that you stay away from, but if you're going to do decorative ties, the really, really stiff, plasticky nylon. The yellow stuff.
That feels gross. Just like,
Right.
I could feel that. Oh.
That stuff is doesn't take tension well. It slips, it slides. It's great to tie a load down with a tarp and stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
That's what it's designed for.
Yeah, not for human beings. Don't put that on us, okay?
For somebody that's getting into it for the very, very first time, there is inexpensive, good quality jute rope out there. You're talking an 8-meter or a 10-meter skein. That's what they call the rope. Anywhere from $7 to $8.
Wow, that's inexpensive. That is
Yeah.
affordable.
So in fact, I have rope kits that I've built up, starter kits. 4 skeins of jute rope. Comes with the safety scissors, the Hunuma oil to condition your rope, and a drawstring bag. Plus, there's a pin. There's a little porcelain pin that's it's a circle with a rope on it.
That's so cute.
Yeah, but 4 skeins of rope. Anywhere you go for practice, anywhere you go to take lessons, that's one of the things they're going to tell you. You need 4 skeins of rope. So that's why I'm putting these kits together this way, is because that's where I see, anytime I see a beginner rope class or anything of that nature, that's one of the things they have. 4 skeins of rope, safety scissors, a mat, some type of a mat or a padding blanket. So that's why I've tried to make up these kits so that it makes it easy for people.
Do you have a link or anything for that? Because I'd love to plug that.
I'm looking for a new web designer. I started the web design back in September, and it's still not up. Even though I've got the web account, the website domain name is locked.
That's good. Hey, it's hard to get a domain name. All right, you gotta fight for that.
Yeah, and if you go to it, it says it's under construction. So please bear with. I'm not a big tech person, so I'm trying to teach myself, and I'm possibly.
You did great today. We're on Skype. You were awesome today.
The craziest thing in the world is, I worked for Motorola back when the first cell phone came available, which was the big brick, or the suitcase one. Okay.
Who doesn't miss that big brick? I swear, I loved it so much.
That at that time, if somebody would have told me we would have been able to do what we're doing like right now, because I'm on my Samsung phone. Yeah. I would have laughed at them.
Right? It's like,
I would have went, what are you talking about? A phone's just going to be used to make phone calls. That's it.
It was funny. On TikTok, someone had posted a TikTok about, I wish that there was just like a phone that like you could just have at home and like anyone could use it. And
I saw that. I commented on it.
It was so painful. Like So you were born after the 2000. That's great. There's a landline. I mean, I still, in my apartment, there's a thing for a landline. Like that exists. You can have it.
We're building houses to this day, all over the country. Yeah. They're still mandating a phone line to be put in the kitchen. Yeah. And I had to look this up. I didn't know this off the top of my head. I Googled it. The very first home phone landline ever in a residential unit, 1870. Yeah. And these, yeah. And it also goes back. Have you seen the one where the kids go to the grandma and grandpa's cabin by the lake, and the rotary phone's hanging on the wall? And Dad says you can make a phone call with that, and they're sitting there. It's a rotary, and they're trying to push buttons and trying to figure. A couple of years ago, a college professor put a hand crank can opener in the middle of the table with a can of soup and said, "Open the can." This is a college professor, and it took him a while to figure out how to.
Y'all make fun of me because I didn't graduate high school. Fuck you! Like
y'all make fun of me because I didn't have Instagram or Twitter or you name it. Yeah, so.
I know how to open a can of beans, and I'll whoop your ass with it. So.
Well, there's
so
a
weird to,
look.
like think about
Yeah. So please bear with me. I'm trying to get the technology. I'm trying to learn how to do my own website.
that. You're doing great.
They
We'll
be
make sure to keep you updated.
right. The bags will be available for sale. They are for sale if you contact me through FetLife, through the personal messenger. I have them available. The website's also going to have how-tos. It's going to link to different manufacturers. It's going to link to safety. It's going to have safety. There's actually going to be an entire section just on safety, not just rope, but it's going to be safety in bondage. It's going to be safety in vetting people. It's going to be safety. And it's not an end-all of end-all. I don't know it all, and I admit it. But it's someplace to start. And if I can find the links and stuff, I'm going to send people, I'll put links in my website saying, go check this one out. Go check that out. I have a safety checklist for if I'm vetting a new sub. It's 12 pages long.
That's great. There's nothing wrong with that, because the more you're educated in a scene like that, the better. You know, you don't want to have someone, because I get approached a lot of, these rope players and riggers and whatnot. They're like, I want to tie you up, and they have no, I guess, I want to say, like, credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't just take rope and tie someone up. You have to go through, like you've been talking about, classes and learning how to do it appropriately. Because yes, it is fun to tie people up, just hog tie them and drag them to the bedroom, but that is completely different. And I know that couples do that and whatnot, and that's fine if it's consensual. But if you're actually trying to do a scene like that, please just have the knowledge, because it is pretty intense play.
It is. And I will tell you right now, of all the models that are listed on my picture files on FetLife, I can tell you that there's only 3 of the dozen or more that I've had a sexual relationship with. Those sexual relations started before I started tying them. Wow. The rest of them, there is no sexual relationship with. That's why I call them models. They're not, to me, they're not bottoms, they're not bunnies. If they want to choose to put that on their label on them, then that's what they do personally. For me, all of mine are models, and that's the way I consider it. There are 3 that I have right now that I have photos of on FetLife. They are professional models, and I have actually contracts with them. I have model releases with everyone that I've tied with. If the faces are showing, if there's any distinguishing tattoos of anything of nature, there's model releases. And I've paid for those 3 particular individuals. I've covered their travel, I've covered food, I've paid them directly for their time, just like any other photo shoot would be. I have a very good friend that's part of the community and on Fet. She's a professional photographer. She does all my photo shoots for me. And you can tell the difference between the pictures I take with my phone and the pictures that she takes.
Oh, yeah.
There's a
difference between a good selfie and like really expensive DSLR camera. All right.
She used to work in a photo studio doing glamour and family portraits. So her equipment. Oh yeah, yeah. And
hopefully not at like J.C. Penney or something, because that is canceled.
No, it was a regular. But you can tell, because the top 5 photos that if you go, I don't know if people know this about FetLife either. If you're on Fet, you can go to your photos, and at the top you can tell it to sort. And one of the ways you can tell it to sort is by the most likes. Well, my top 5, 3 of them are photos that she shot.
Wow.
The models, those 3 photos, the models in them, I have shot the same in the same time at the same vantage point and everything else. And mine are in the middle of the pack, the ones I shot. The ones she shot are on the top. So it shows you.
All my most popular liked photos is just me with a good facial with my glasses on. So, thanks. That's really cool. And I hope everyone who's watching or listening, please check it out, because your content is absolutely beautiful. Your work and art it blows my mind. And I hope, one day that we can cross paths and you could do some rope art on me because I think it could be fun.
You never know. We might even go a little crazy and maybe do a live ugly couch.
That would be
All of
fun
us sitting in the
on
same
the
room.
couch.
Yeah.
That would be the first person to ever be someone on the couch. Well,
I don't have to be the first if you can get somebody, somebody else within your. I mean.
Well, no, I mean I don't mean the first person on the couch. There's been plenty. We talked about this in the last.
That's not where I was going, but okay.
There's been a lot of people on this couch. There's a stain for every person. So this couch is a fucking slut. But I love you so much. I appreciate you.
Could that couch contribute a lot of stuff to Playboy or Penthouse?
Oh, we talked about this. And sorry that I'm telling the story over again. There's a specific couch in older porns. It was a yellow couch and it had a floor pattern on it. And I had the same exact couch in my living room as a child growing up. And I was like, I grew up and I was like, I've seen that couch before. Not that it came off of like the production, but it was the exact same couch. And I was like, that's fucking weird.
Well, but, where do the production companies get their props?
I don't know. I guess
from the same store you shop at.
I know my parents are fucking weird. It's great. They're divorced now, but you know what? That's cool. But it's because of the couch. I get it. We got rid of it. My bad. This couch is so loud though. It can tell a lot of weird stories. So
yeah, what's really crazy is we were watching a porn one night, and I recognized the house they were shooting it in because I had done some work in that house.
That is fantastic.
Yep. Working construction for 30 plus years.
Oh, I'm sure. Wow.
Building a lot of residential and doing a lot of remodel work, especially in Southern California.
Huh. I remember that wall. I worked.
Well, it wasn't the wall that caught my eye. It was the very unique way the living room with the fireplace in connection with the dining.
I literally just thought of a fireplace. I was like, I bet you it's a fireplace for sure.
Yeah, it was very unique and very distinctive. It wasn't something that was generic off the shelf type setup. So yeah, it was interesting.
If that porno made any money, you should get a cut of that. You produced it. For absolutely sure.
Yeah, no, so it's interesting. This entire lifestyle for me has been extremely interesting. I've been married twice in the lifestyle. I'm single in the lifestyle. It has been it's been a positive and a negative.
Yeah, no, it's definitely living in any kind of fetish kink lifestyle is very, very interesting. And because I don't care who all of you are, you're not vanilla. I know that sometimes you take a shower, put a thumb up your ass. Don't deny it. It's cool. If that's your go-to, I say it every time. It's fine. And sometimes if you want to go grocery shopping with a butt plug in, or you've got one of those lushes in, and sometimes you like to walk around naked at a club. That's legal, like a swingers club. Don't just go into a regular bar and start walking around naked. Don't do that. But I almost did that once when I was 22. It was a bad idea. And I was like, okay, never mind. But it's very beautiful. And so that means that you'll come back on the podcast and tell some of those stories, right?
I'll tell you any stories you want, as long as they're true.
No, yeah, make up some fake gay shit. That's fine. That's
I can't even make up fake gay shit.
Ah, shit. Well, then we're screwed. We're not. We're unscrewed now.
Yes.
Well, Mac, I want to say thank you so much for not only coming back on this podcast, because we all done fucked up and lost the first time, but I feel like this time meant a lot better. You were so interesting.
Thank you. You're correcting the accident that happened.
Yeah, we done fucked up, you guys. It wasn't his fault. It was mine, okay? I'll own up to it. I don't care. Joffrey is still shook about it. So, he's busy now. So, my little, he's always mad at me every time. But is there anything else you'd like to plug in and share?
Yeah, there's one other thing. I buy my rope gear through my Naiwashi.
Okay, we'll make sure that the link's down below for sure.
Etsy.
Oh,
on
beautiful.
Yep.
Okay.
I have him linked on my profile. Please give him a love. He's out of Texas.
Oh, can't get bad at that. I trust anyone
Yeah.
from Texas. Well, I mean, I'm
It's
kind of obligated to because my boyfriend's from Texas, so fuck.
Okay. But most times when I place an order with them, I usually have it in 7 to 10 days. If they're out of stock with it, they tell me immediately. They've done custom work for me.
Oh, wow.
We are attempting to recreate a porcelain pin. It's Jessica Rabbit tied in rope. I have the redhead, natural redhead. She has the red dress. Okay? We have everything. We went to do the tie the first time. Standard 8mm rope is too small in diameter. It didn't look right. I contacted the folks out at My Naiwashi, told them what we were doing, showed them a picture of what we were trying to create, and they sent me custom made. It's about 3/8 inch diameter rope that is going to allow us to recreate. It's a porcelain pin that we're copying.
Right.
And it's going to create, in fact, we're hoping to recreate that tie because she's going to be available in the 26th of this month. So hopefully sometime after the 26th, the photos will be out and we will be able to have those pictures up. And what we're going to do is it's going to have a collage, picture of the pin right next to the picture with her. And I hope people appreciate what we've created.
I'm so excited to see that. That sounds beautiful.
So, yeah. In fact, I wear, anytime I go to rope class or anytime I go out for an event, that pin is on my jacket along with one of my other rope pins. And I get a lot of people asking me about them. And so it helps. It helps pick up some people, educate some people. That's my big thing too, is I hope to eventually be able to start teaching and educating people on rope. That's my long-term end goal.
That's really groovy, and thank you for doing that because we all need more education. You know, I know that we all just we're all very horny, but when it comes to something like that, you need to be educated, and we'll make sure here on the couch to promote and put all your links and everything, and
thank you.
You know, support you because you're supporting us being a guest on here. If it wasn't for people like you, this podcast wouldn't exist. So.
See you talking to a camera.
Yeah, which people keep asking about that. Y'all don't want that, okay? Please. I might do it, but y'all really don't want it. But I might do it. I don't know. But Mac, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This has been I'm so happy to have you back, and I hope to have you back for another episode because you definitely have some interesting stories that I think we'd all love to hear.
Right. Anytime. Like I've said in the emails and some of the other conversations we've had, give me a 24-hour notice and I can help you out.
I'll give you about 5 minutes. I'm kidding. I'm really good at time management. I'm really good at time management.
Under some circumstances, I can handle 5 minutes.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. Check out our previous videos where we talk about safety, sexual education, traveling with the kink world, and just, being safe and having a good time. So I'm still not going to do the outro. It's not happening. You guys can keep asking for it. And thank you, Mac. And I hope you have an amazing day.
Welcome. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.